welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Megan Dauphiny and I share everything from DIY, home design, decor, arts and crafts, and everything in between. So if that's something you're interested in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Today I'm sharing decorating for the holiday season in my bedroom and my living room. I like to lean more neutral with a little bit of burgundy red incorporated into my decor. So if that's the style that you also enjoy, I'm sure you'll find some inspiration from today's video. I like to take inspiration from high-end designer looks and find ways to create those looks on a budget through some DIY and different ways. So I'll be sharing some of that as well in today's video. So let's get into it. I love taking things that I have around my home and switching them up into different areas depending on the season. I took this cutting board that I had in my kitchen and decided I was going to use it on my coffee table in my living room. I was using these books on my coffee table already, so I decided that I was going to keep them here for the holiday season. And I took this vase that I had in my bedroom and just added some green velvet ribbon with some vintage bells. And then I just took some pine cones, candle, and some different ornaments and placed it on this cutting board to fill it in and give it an elevated look. If you've never checked out Luxby, they have absolutely gorgeous home decor, and I got this set of 3 vintage bells from them and I just adore them. I typically have them styled in my kitchen, but I decided to add them to my coffee table for the holiday season. And then I added these coasters and I just love the way this all looks together. I got this frame at Walmart for only $5 and this material from my local craft store, and then I got a print on Etsy. And after I got all this, I saw a very similar print on a high-end website for much more money. So I love that I'm getting this high-end look on a budget. So I just simply took everything out and took the mat for the picture, and then I just cut the material around it and glued it onto it. This was honestly really simple, and you can customize this to suit your home decor style in any way with many different types of fabric options. I just put the picture in, put it all back together, and I loved the way this turned out. I also put the glass behind everything. I just like the way that looks better. It looks more intentional and there's less of that shine. Okay, another fun one that I did, I also got these stems or picks. I know they can be called different things from Wayfair, and I really had to pull them apart to give them a nice full look. And I had this vase from HomeSense, which was $30. I already had it, and I tied some red ribbon around it, and I love the way this looks. I'm going to have it styled on my wood wall paneling in my living room, but I just love how big and full it is, and it's nice to have some vases with stems that are different heights and dimensions. So really loving how this one turned out. I decided to style both of these items here on this floating shelf on this half wall, and I just love the way that they turned out. I live in a split entry home and I have this railing here, so each year I style it with some garland. This garland is from HomeSense. I really love it. And then I got the vintage bells and brown velvet bows from Canadian Tire, and the stockings are also from Canadian Tire. This year I got some different wreaths. I got a set of 2 from Canadian Tire, and these 2 are actually from my local craft store. I just love the way they look. Both of them are around 12, 15 Canadian dollars. And then I bought a string of vintage bells from Canadian Tire, and I cut a few off and just attached them to the wreaths. I just love the way that this looks. It's so easy. Anybody can do this. And then I just added some ribbon as well to them. So for these ones, I used pre-made brown velvet ribbon that Canadian Tire already had. But you could really use any ribbon that you have and make bows yourself, which I did do on some other wreaths that I styled in my bedroom, and I will show you how I did that a little later in this video. Okay, so here's my living room now. I don't have my Christmas tree yet because I do go with a real tree every year, so the couches will get rearranged, but I'm loving how this is all coming together so far. I also swapped out some of my prints for some Christmas prints that again I got on Etsy and hung them on this little wall here, and I'm just loving the way this is all coming together. Okay, so now moving on to my bedroom, I like to keep things simple, minimalist, but just some touches of Christmas decor that I can add into my existing decorations. I got this Christmas tree from Walmart Canada. It came in a very different base. I took a vase that I already had and added it in there, and then just added some red velvet ribbon, and it completely elevated this into looking like a high-end piece. And then I just took some stacked books and put this little plate on top. I also got these burgundy throw pillows from HomeSense, and I love the deep red. They just add a really elegant vibe and some extra color to my room that it was lacking. I found this really sweet Etsy print online and this thrifted frame and put them together and hung them in my bedroom, and I just love the way that they look. Now, I mentioned that I would show you how to create a velvet bow to attach to those wreaths that I actually ended up hanging in my bedroom. Now, you could do this for anything, but essentially, you're going to wrap it around your finger 3 times and then twice around your index and thumb, and then loop it through the center like I just did and knot it through. It's actually really easy. Once you attempt this, you'll realize just how easy it is. And then you're going to pull that nice and tight, and then you can release the initial 3 hoops around your finger because that's your other hanging piece. And then you just need to finesse it a little bit. This gives you 2 pieces to the ribbon. I just had to flip around the other piece just to ensure that the velvet side was showing. But it's a really easy way to create really pretty bows. So you can see here, these are the Canadian Tire wreaths that I got. I removed the ribbon that they came with and then attached my little vintage bells and my red ribbon to it. Overall, I'm super happy with how everything turned out in my bedroom. Again, I like to keep things simple and just have little touches of Christmas added in to my existing decor. So that's what I tried to do here. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you typically like to go all out and have lots of Christmas decorations within your home, or do you keep things fairly simple, minimalist like I do? Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you found some inspiration. And next week I'll be sharing some DIY Christmas ornament crafts, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.